morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hoon Dok Hae, and today is Ahn Shi, and we're here together with Rev Seti Suafa, today being Saturday the 5th of June or the 25th of April in the 9th year of Chongalguk. Let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Kyombe. Paro. And let's recite our family pledge both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가정맹세 2. 천의국 주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 춘신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 선자의 가정의 놀이를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 2. Our family, the owner of Chongalguk, pledges to represent and become central to heaven and earth by attending the Heavenly Parent and True Parents. We pledge to perfect the dutiful family way of filial sons and daughters in our family, patriots in our nation, saints in the world, and divine sons and daughters in heaven and on earth by centering on true love. Thank you. I think I'll offer the opening prayer today. Please join me. Dear Heavenly Parents and our True Parents, we're grateful to come together as a community of Oceania, as a community that is serving you, our Heavenly Parents, and supporting our True Mother. We want to understand more deeply your heart so that it can vibrate within our very bones, so that we can have the determination and strength to really proclaim to the world loudly that you are the Heavenly Parent of humankind, that the True Parents have arrived and they represent you substantially manifesting here on this earth, and that through the blessing that our True Parents give, that we can change our blood lineage, purify our blood lineage, and return back to you and fulfill the original desire that you had. You gave Adam and Eve 3 blessings, and that 3 blessings is for everyone to fulfill. That this is the responsibility and the gift. By fulfilling the responsibility, then we receive the gift of joy and happiness, and we live in harmony and peace. The world at the moment, because of Adam and Eve's immaturity and ignorance and being seduced by Satan, resulted in a history of humanity that is just full of suffering and anguish and pain. And you, our Heavenly Parent, have suffered with that pain more than anyone else. You have suffered with that pain and watched us grow in ignorance and has worked the providence in spite of our own limitations. But we want to be able to know and be equipped so that we can support and love each other. That the fundamental reality of love is that it is a power that is manifested when we live for the sake of others, when we invest ourselves 100%, when we really disregard our own limitations and actually use our limitations as a strength. So we ask that we can work together as a community, that Oceania can move as one nation, and that we can lay the foundation so that we can realize Father's declaration back in 1992, where the unified world begins here in Oceania. And we want to ask that you can be here with us, that we can have your wisdom, so that as we meet people, we say the right words that stimulate spirit world, that we make the conditions necessary so that the development of our community can take place without any limitations, so that our family can grow and that your love can, pour down upon us, because we are living in the time of our true mother, which is the manifestation of the Holy Spirit, and we want to be able to connect with her spirit, so we know, what she's doing, so we know, what we need to do at this current moment. So we ask that you can be here with us, and that we can receive your message through Rev Seti Suafa, and that we can open our hearts and really embrace each other in love. So I ask that you can be here present with us as we offer you this today. I report this in our collective names as a community, and in our names, John and Shizuyanami as a Blessed Central Family. Arju. Thank you. So let's welcome Reverend Seti as he shares with us this morning. So thank you, Seti. Go ahead, please. He was there.
Now is the Mifa is helping to arrange Reverend John.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a little bit technically.
Okay. So hopefully they'll come back soon. And it's good to see everybody.
Someone can sing a song?
Oh, that'd be great. That's something we should think about doing. Have a song.
Let's sing a song. When he comes on, we'd sing it, because he talked about singing songs yesterday.
Yeah, the only thing that I've noticed about singing songs is that everyone's out of sync. No one's in
One
time.
person. One person.
Oh, well, one person. That's good. You need someone with a good voice.
Who's the singer?
Nah.
Yes.
Okay, I volunteer nah.
Randall, you're going to sing?
Oh, I'm in the wrong position to sing at the moment. Maybe a bit later.
Oh.
How about you, nah?
Oh, me? Okay. Let me just sing. Get the songbook. 33. Da, 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 da. 34. Well, I was just singing this song, By the Spring of Life.
Sounds great.
Okay. We're marching to the blessed land of Canaan with delight. We're leaving all our heavy burdens here. At last we are released and free from being slaves to sin. We're coming to the blessed spring of life. Coming to the spring where living water flows, and glory will be living evermore. Coming to the spring where living water flows, and glory will be living evermore. Oh, guide us with your pillars, Lord of fire and of cloud. Oh, give us paths to follow with our lives. The moment that we cross the Jordan River is at hand. We're coming to the blessed spring of life. Coming to the spring where living water flows, and glory will be living evermore. Going to the land where freely flows the spring, and glory will be living evermore. Our thirsting hearts receive with joy the manna from above. Your precious food will always be our strength. So if the future finds us lacking, we will not despair. We're coming to the blessed spring of life. Coming to the spring where living water flows, and glory will be living evermore. Going to the land land where freely flows the spring. In glory we'll be living evermore. Yay!
Oh, well done.
So, if Seti is not ready, somebody else can volunteer.
Ooh.
Could be a singing session at the end.
Could be. Yeah, that's a good way to generate the Holy Spirit is through.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Fires.
Oh, I know someone who's got a great voice. I love listening to the voice of Kim Raymond. He's got a great voice. He's shaking his head.
Yay, Kim.
Yeah. Yeah, let's have someone sing.
Yeah, come on. We're all ears.
You're waiting.
Oh,
No, they don't need the pressure. Only if they want.
Okay, hang on a sec. Well, just to move over to where my wife is because I don't like the microphone on this one. Hang on a sec. This is one that I use as a prayer when driving along. Father, the winds blowing over the mountains. Father, creation's abounding. These are things that speak to me softly. In the morning when I want to greet you, oh Father, Father. Brothers and sisters sharing together, growing in oneness forever, learning how to care for each other in the ways of our Father, oh Father, Father. Did you ever find someone that you never knew? When you thought you were alone, he was close to you. Well, we've found our Father, and a love that's true. Father, our love grows stronger and stronger. Father, your tears flow no longer. We will hold your heart in our hands now, so that everyone can know the joy of our Father. Father, Father. And I think Seti is back on now,
Yeah,
or at least his wife is.
Oh. Are you there now, Seti? Please go ahead.
Okay. So good morning,
oh, yeah.
Reverend Nitaka, and Reverend Adamidis, and all beloved brothers and sisters around our one nation of Oceania. Okay, Mama. Here's my. Apologies for the late start. We've got new techies on the job here. We have a problem. Everything's everywhere. This morning, I wanted to continue from take up on what Reverend Yutaka mentioned in his previous talk on the timeline, that the wonderful timeline that about True Parents' life course. And in 1997, True Parents declared about Hoon Dok Providence, start of the Hoon Dok Providence. And towards the end of the talk, Reverend Yutaka spoke about that we have to embody and bring substance to the spirit world when we're talking about Hoon Dok Hae, and that we need to make, I guess in Christian terms, we have to incarnate the word. We have to create the resonance by our life here on earth. We have to create this vibration, and we have to create this by studying parents' word, True Parents' words, and then living that word. We need to create the blessing and true family values environment here on earth. And then there should be no boundaries in spirit world, and that we can truly live as one family under God. So these are the words that I took up. But before Reverend Yutaka spoke and mentioned this particular part of the timeline about Hoon Dok Hae, I had decided to talk on Hoon Dok Hae. And I think some of our brothers and sisters, I sent a Facebook post. Our brother Taekyon Lee, he often puts out True Parents' words, and lately I sent out to a few of our friends, brothers and sisters, his presentation. So much of this is to do with those words about Hoon Dok. But I guess the key point that I wanted to talk about is the, to be one family under God, we have to do Hoon Dok Hae, to be the, use the word as a pure water to purify us, to become like pure water, and change us from the muddy waters or the stagnant waters of the older life. And also for reference, I haven't managed to finish all my homework in preparation for this, but I'd like to give you a reading, if I may. And that's from this book, Managing and Caring for Your Heavenly Tribe, the Heavenly Tribe Messiah Collection 4, Management and Care. And especially Hoon Dok Mind Body Purification Jongsong, the Course for Perfection of Character. This is on page 122, etc., chapter 4 of this book. So that's your reading. Is that okay? If you have these books, this is part of what I hope to prepare for you, but not quite finished. Just again, reminding ourselves about Mother's words from her book. My lifelong goal and determination is to fulfill the dream of God. Our heavenly parents long to live together with all of us as generations of good and loving people, forming the heavenly parents' holy community, one family under God. So I'm determined to bring that dream into reality during my remaining years. So I invite all of my readers to join me in this historic task. This is from Mother's book. So this is a key point, really is just to remind us again about the purpose and the value of Hoon Dok Hae. And these are our reference from this Managing and Caring Your Heavenly Tribe for further. I've wrote down some of Father's words on this. So I'll start with this first panel. If I could ask John, or maybe he knows who's here, but maybe if we all go through, we'll do literally a Hoon Dok. Is that okay? From the panels that I've got here. So I'd like everyone to read very clearly, very fast, especially because we're late. All right. So starting from my screen, I've forgotten which year this is because
that's on.
Yeah. Anyway, you see the year. My laptop has a big damage on the screen, so I can't see the date. But in the beginning, I'll read the first panel. From now on, you should do Hoon Dok Hae. You buy books, establish a regular schedule, and your family should gather for Hoon Dok Hae. And even when I'm alone, I do it myself. All right, my wife been typing this furiously. If you are sleeping, wake up and do Hoon Dok Hae. So in the future, God will not treat people who are ignorant of the principle as his true people. So can someone read this next one? Randall?
Okay,
Loud and
I
clear.
think you have. Yep, okay. My words connect you with me. The more deeply you understand, the higher level you reach in offering your devotions. The more the heart of God's love can dwell within you. The person who says, the taste of Hoon Dok Hae is better than food, is better than making love, will grow infinitely. These words are a collection of the serious, intense moments of my life proclaimed before heaven.
Okay, and Janine?
No one knows the value of God's words as much as I do. These words were veiled, but I had to overcome life and death situations to deliver these words. They are imbued with God's heart, spoken during the most serious times. Once I started speaking about the hidden stories, the spirits who were moved in the early days to be involved in those events will be connected to us. You will feel overwhelmed by emotion and receive enormous grace. By reading these words, we again recollect those stories, and this can awaken those spirits who worked before and inspire them to continue working with us. Then the cooperation of the spirit world working behind the scenes in our time can result in works many times and hundreds of times more powerful than before.
And maybe John, and then John, if you could pass it on to the next person. I can't see everybody.
Okay, will do. The origin and meaning of Hoon Dok Hae. The mother and father of a family should do pledge service and set an example for their children, so they too can be eager to attend. When parents eagerly are waiting with joy, children see them. They should be able to say, we want to learn what our mother and father are learning. We parents should leave such as an example for them. All right, pass it on to Chris Bruce. Go ahead.
Okay, children should also see their parents hold Hoon Dok Hae gatherings. The words shared there are not available anywhere else. Since I'm the one who inaugurated Hoon Dok Hae, they exist only within the Unification Church. Establish a tradition that you enjoy attending Hoon Dok Hae so much that you would pass up meeting a guest or anyone else if it interfered with Hoon Dok Hae. This is how to put your family on the right path. You have to establish such a tradition for your sons and daughters. Okay, Doug.
Children should also, the words are to flow. If you stop their flow, will become a burden. Have a cross to bear. They will become a burden for you and cause you to collapse. Hence, you should enable them to flow to your mother, your father, your cousins, your neighborhood, and so on. The more they flow, the more they will expand. And by your results, they will become a huge river. Then, wherever you are, with these words, you will be influential enough to make a great impact on your area. I can't see anyone. Steve?
I don't have the second slide.
It's there now.
The Chinese character Hoon, excuse me, of Hoon Dok Hae consists of two characters, combines words and stream, which means the words that flow. Therefore, these words do not die. If water remains still for just 1 week, it will begin to stagnate. Therefore, water needs to flow. If a father hears these words, he will teach them to his sons and daughters. If a grandfather hears these words, he should teach them to his grandchildren. If a mayor hears these words, he should teach them to all the citizens of his town. Someone else jump in, I can't see anybody.
I can do it.
Flow like water from higher ground to lower. Hoon Dok Hae is the eternal business of sharing God's words. The Chinese character Dok consists of two combined words. It means to sell the words. Even if you give these words to 1,000 people, you'll not suffer any loss. This is an eternal business. The money you gather will eventually run out, but these words never run out. Somebody else?
Maybe Keitha. How about you?
As water flows from higher to lower ground, the words need to be passed along over and over. To be clear, water has to flow. Water that does not flow becomes murky. Pure spirits dwells in clear water. The character Dok combines the character for words and sell. Accordingly, you should give or sell the words as if you were a salesperson.
When you share my...
You go.
Okay.
Shall I do it?
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
When you share my words with others, you become their ancestors. Convey my words to people who are enslaved to the fallen world and to the spirits who have fallen into hell, then this will happen. If you don't know my words well, buy a collection of my speeches and share with them.
Oceania is one family under God. The unified world begins from Oceania. True Father.
Okay, so I unmuted myself because the dogs are barking here in the background. The chiefs are having a meeting and a lot of commotion going on. Sorry. So yeah, that's some of the words that I took from Tae Kyun Lee's collection of words on Hoon Dok Hae. But again, this morning, very simply, I just wanted to share that Hoon Dok Mind Body Purification Jong Song is a course for the perfection of our character, and we need to become a heavenly tribal messiah by cultivating ourselves spiritually through these words. And a chapter that I mentioned before in our HTN books. Hoon Dok Mind Body Purification Jongsong requires that we read the word and offer Jongsong with mind body unity to achieve the first blessing, which means perfect our character, unite mind and body, carry out our acts of faith that constantly purify our mind, sanctify the body, and expand the influence of the divinity of Heavenly Parent inside us in this process. So Mother said, we have to wash away all the faults and sins with clean, purified water created by the light of Hyojang. And Jongsong is the way for all members to experience Heavenly Parent. So to undergo spiritual experiences of Heavenly Parent, we have to widen the space for Heavenly Parent inside ourselves. So our body and mind have to become Aju, the house where Heavenly Parent lives. So when I inside us, the I inside us, I, quote unquote, inside us is cleansed, that is our inner ego, and we can become one with Heavenly Parents, and we can become people who live with the original mind. And the original mind is the mind of Heavenly Parent. So when we become one with that original mind, we can become fragrant, true people, full of freedom, happiness, and joy. And to become such a person, we need the practice of Hoon Dok mind-body purification Jongsong. So expansion and reproduction of this process becomes the way to save all the suffering people in the world. So that's all I prepared for our Oceania brothers and sisters this morning. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Seti. Okay.
I also wanted to share that I remember vividly a couple of times in which this Hoon Dok process, one time, I think it was before the mobilization in which we officially opened the Peace Embassy. For a long time, the Peace Embassy was left unused, and it was waiting for all the red tape to clear before we can use the Peace Embassy. And at that time, I was settling back in New Zealand with my family from Samoa, and I was in the middle of a job working in a high school, my old high school, as a teacher, and I was getting paid lots of money, and we were pretty comfortable. I think that's one of the most comfortable periods of my life as a family, our family, making loads of money, and everything was, you know, we were at our family home in Auckland. And then I read these speeches, and at that time, Hyunjanem was, you know, our international leader, and he talked about typhoon, and one time a typhoon hit our area in Auckland, and many houses, about 12 different houses all around my block were damaged, except our house. So I took it as a sign from heaven that I was too comfortable, and I needed to get out of this comfort zone and invest for the providence. And at that time, Dr. Song, he was continental leader, and he asked me, along with Andrew Winchcombe, to come and help with the Peace Embassy mobilization. So from then on, I left my family with my parents, and I came across to work with Greg Stone and others who were looking after the Melanesian nations, Trinity of Nations. And I thought that was a very vital period of time for the Peace Embassy providence. It needed to be open. I recall in particular one time that our Australian board was slow to open the Peace Embassy for public use. So, you know, I just united with Dr. Song, and I said to the Melanesian brothers, our Solomon brothers, at that time our office was across the road upstairs, and you remember that old building with no elevator? our headquarter office was up there. So I just said to the brothers, guys, we're going to move office into the Peace Embassy. So I mobilized our MFT team, and we brought all the office gear down, put it in the van, took it across the road, and that's how the Peace Embassy opened. And I think shortly afterward, that weekend, we moved the Sunday service from the school where we were having Sunday service out in Auburn or somewhere, into the Peace Embassy. And I really felt, you know, that needed to happen. But I'm talking about the influence of Hoon Dok Hae, where you know, you get inspired and you just get out of the groove that you're in and you go. And I thought that Chocolate Wars mobilization of the Melanesian nations, especially the Solomon Islanders, was so vital to revive. Spiritually, I felt like Australia was a desert at that time, and nothing was, you know, happening witnessing wise and also fundraising. You know, we blew records of fundraising out the window, you know, the teams that were there. And it just sparked the whole revival I felt for our region, from Sydney. So yeah, that's just one example. And another example of Hoon Dok Hae's with Father's autobiography. I was reading Father's autobiography. Our family were reading when we were down in Hawke's Bay. At that time, I was having to organize our Hawke's Bay family of members, and I was so inspired by the Father's words that I decided to have a four-city tour with the autobiography. So we made this huge banner of Father's, the front of the book, the autobiography book, is Father's picture, and then we made a sign, name of the city welcomes you. That was our simple. So we were going to have a launch of Father's autobiography in 4 cities. So luckily Hawke's Bay, Hastings and Napier are very close together. So that was the 2 beginning cities. And then I went to Apia to help Dr. Kim bring the top religious leaders and the Prime Minister together. And we had a launch of Father's autobiography then with Trin, who was there connecting the missions with his prayers. And then I went to Sydney and I said to Dr. Kim that I was really wanting to work with the Maori ambassadors for peace, because I really felt the indigenous people, they love Father, especially Peter Tapsell and Tio Peter Rauna, a Latter-day Saints elder. So centering on those 2, we wanted to have a launch in Gisborne, which is the most Maori place in New Zealand, authentically Maori place. So we mobilized some of our Hawke's Bay team, and we went up. And but when I went to the Sydney Embassy and reported this to Dr. Kim, suddenly he wanted to come across to participate in this launch. Previously, I had said to the national leader and the UPF leader at that time to do this launch, but no one was interested. but you know, we stretched our family budget and we made this thing happen. And then when I mentioned to Dr. Kim, he was so inspired, he wanted to come. So suddenly the national leader and the UPF leader had to mobilize and move, you know, come to this small town in the bush in Gisborne to participate in this launch. And that was very important because Peter Tapsell, he's a very dignified ambassador for peace, so everybody knows. He went on TV and newspapers, held to Father's autobiography, and he said the Maori people very much, this is the teaching that the Maori people need. And he emphasized again, he's always done this, but this time he did it on Maori TV and he did it on the newspapers and things. And we did it in a marae that's a very spiritual marae, one of Trinity of maraes in Gisborne. And it was like opening the Maori spirit world. So Dr. Kim was very happy with that launch. And I remember words he said, you know, this is what leadership is. Leadership is when you take you get inspired, and then you move and act. You know, even if nobody else moves, but you gotta go and act. So on the foundation of that, then he invited me to take up this leadership in Samoa as the national leader of Samoa. So just a couple of testimonies that I remember in my life, in which the power of Hoon Dok Hae, you know, the power of the word, it really turns, you know, a key and brings a whole new spectrum of vision and action. So thank you for your patience. That's all I want to share.
Hey, thank you very much, Seti. So I need to stop sharing so we can go back. You can find it. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes. We had a great song in the beginning, and we listened to Father's words, and we've got a few minutes for some people to share some reflections. Yeah, go ahead, Randall. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Seti. When Paul Werner was here in Australia, he said, don't just tithe your money, tithe your time as well. The year is about, you know, almost 400 days old, so 400 days long, so tithe about 40 days a year. And so that's how come a lot of the members around the nation kind of know my face, because I try to put 40 days out into places outside of Geelong. And so I've been up, you know, leading fundraising teams up to Queensland or wherever, or, you know, done a few things like this. And yeah, John has opened up the doors for us for a fundraising team to come to his house at different times. And as far as Hoon Dok goes, with my family, when Ahn Shi started, then for the Western members of Melbourne, then, you know, there was like the Eisenbrooks and the Simboros. We would get together every 8 days. And then with different things happened, and, you know, things slowed down and all, we kept the Ahn Shi. We've been going faithfully every 8 days with our family. And basically the kids have moved out of home and moved into different houses and things like that. Every 8 days we get together. So it's just another way to help with the heavenly families that you have. So thanks for your testimony there, Seti.
Thank you. Actually, I noticed Mary there, and I remember saying that she wanted to mention something about what she had sent earlier. You can talk about that.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I was going to share this when we were speaking about True Mothers tour through the United States. I didn't have a chance, but I think the best way for me to share this would be to read it, because I don't think I can share it better than what's actually written down. So it only takes about 3 minutes. So, but yeah, it was, just had an amazing experience when it was in Mother's tour in 1993. Yeah. So basically, the title is Pushing Aside the Clouds in Region 4. That's the Southeast region of the United States. As True Father traveled throughout the United States during his Day of Hope tour in 1973, the Mississippi River flooded. This year it flooded again as True Mother was traveling around the nation proclaiming true parents and the completed testament age. The city of Des Moines in Iowa was without running water due to the flood for a period of 12 days. People could not shower nor flush their toilets. Finally, the water was turned on the day before True Mother arrived. In Omaha, Nebraska, the airport was closed due to the storm. True Mother's plane was the first to land. As Peter Kim said, Mother's plane has pushed the clouds away. While Mother was touring America, speaking such a profound message to the American people, A symbolic spiritual cleansing was taking place, while the continuous rain and floods represented an external cleansing. It was truly a time of new beginning for America. Our small IOWC team from Region 4, consisting of Marilyn Eaton, Felicia Jones-Locke, Leah Rooney, and myself, was so fortunate as to attend True Mother's speech in 9 different cities. Not only did we attend the speech, but we could also be with Mother as she spoke to True Father after the speech. It was so beautiful and wonderful to experience True Mother's happiness as she related to True Father and as they sang songs to each other. In Little Rock, Arkansas, Reverend Lee had prepared songs for True Parents. The Japanese brothers and sisters sang Furusato in harmony. It was so beautiful. The Western members sang the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Everyone was investing their hearts totally, and very soon we were all singing and dancing together with Mother as True Father was singing Korean songs over the telephone. It was the most beautiful experience. Father said that Mother is a happy mother. It was a precious moment. Mother spoke to us in some cities, giving specific guidance to those particular cities, or speaking generally about how we can fulfill our responsibilities. In Jackson, Mississippi, Mother told us that by working hard, we had found the best way to do our mission. We must set up the proper tradition so God cannot help visiting our family. We must have a new way of thinking and a new way of doing things. Every moment we had to remind ourselves we are living with God and True Parents. Adam and Eve were supposed to do that. We must not repeat the same mistakes Adam and Eve made. We must put absolute effort into our daily life. Each sister on our team had many amazing experiences while participating in these events. In Nashville, Tennessee, Leah and myself invited people by calling them directly from the phone book, beginning with a particular letter of the alphabet and calling every name down the page. Calling began before 7 a.m. and continued throughout the day until after 11 p.m. Of course, there was some negative response, but we were able to contact some wonderful people who came to hear Mother's speech. Every responsive person was called 4 times, and it really felt as though we had made friends over the telephone. Mother knew we'd been calling and made a comment during breakfast that we should even call after midnight, telling people we are practicing true love and that God told me that I should practice on you. She said their hearts will be melted. Just as the flood wasn't coincidental, nor was the incredible storm during the time Mother was delivering her speech to Congress. We were in Shelbyville, Kentucky. The thunder and lightning, which seemed so close, preceded a torrential downpour, beginning the very moment Mother began her speech in Washington. Within half an hour, the sun was shining. And a rainbow arched across the sky, signifying victory and a new beginning. We were praying during that time for success and victory of the speech. The presence of God was so close. During the tour, we were able to dance together with Mother, sing together with her, and during the speech, cry together with her as she spoke of the painful course Jesus and True Parents had gone through. It was truly a new beginning for us. Having participated in the preparation of some events and attended others, we had the opportunity of being close to Mother and understanding more deeply her sensitivity, her love, and her seriousness in changing this world and liberating God's heart. Our own hearts and minds have been transformed during this time, and we long to bring happiness and joy to our True Parents by being their representatives and conveying this message of truth and love to people everywhere. Thank you. Yeah, there was a little bit more. I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Boffman, Peter Kim, Sinmoon Kim, Wonju McDevitt, and all the security brothers who traveled to each city with True Mother for their dedication and attendance to True Parents. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That was, it really felt like we were there as you read that. And when you mentioned about the phone book and phoning names, it actually reminded me that I had a time doing that as well, just picking a letter and going through the phone book. Yeah, that's quite an experience. And thank you, everyone. Actually, it's time for us to pray together, and I'll just prepare and share the screen, and then we can begin. So let's begin. Aju, Aju, Aju. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. And tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye.
God bless Suafa whānau. Aina.
Thank you, Seti.
Yeah, thank you
Seti.
for your
Rita, Viva.
investment. Yeah. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
On Ata.
Everyone. God bless Oceania.
Yeah, see you somewhere.
Thank you. It was good to hear the tribal leaders there.
Thank
Seti.
you for your sacrifices.
Seti, thank you.
All the best with the new
Candace,
government in
Candace.
Samoa.
Yeah.
The new
Thank you.
Prime Minister.
You, Lydia.